Well, welcome back, Simon. So you've got a few more floats to show us to add to your range. What have you got, mate?
Yeah, so we got 4 new additions. See, the flat float is the biggest one. So this is the first one. This float is a float that I've used for over 20 years. It used to be called a barbetta, Umbertide.
Right.
Umbertide is a place down near Rome in Italy, and there's a river very much like the Avon, similar width and depth, but it's full of chub. So you used to fish with these floats strung out, running through. It was a really nice float for that type of fishing. So with the National coming up this year on the Avon, I sort of wanted to bring it out really.
Yeah.
The sizes are 0.3 to 0.6, so 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. And it's a float, it's quite similar to my river, but the river starts at 0.75. So this is a very, sort of, it works well in moving water in light sizes, if that makes sense. So strung out or with a little bulk, it's got a plastic tip, wire stem, quite a tight little round body. And yeah, it's just a float that's a little bit close to my heart. I used to use it a lot on that river, and I've used it since at Evesham quite a lot. And the same old thing, I ran out of the handful that I had was sort of getting in worse and worse state. And
Thought you'd have some made.
yeah, I thought I had some made, yeah. So that's the Siwi Umbertide.
Isn't that the way that most good things are brought about? But people,
Well, I know it works, put it that way, because I've
yeah.
used it, I've got it made identically.
Yeah.
And actually the guy that makes my floats used to make it back in the day. It was from the same place.
Is it?
Yeah, so it is the same float. It's not like...
Yeah, just got your colours, colours to it.
Yeah, so that's a real nice float, that. It works really well. A bit of hemp, maggot, chublets, roach.
So what depth of water would you sort of look to use them on?
It's up to 0.6, so you probably, depending on the flow, it's like a 7 foot, up to 7 foot.
Yeah.
But a lot of the Avons like that, you know, just running it through on a long line.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. I'm pleased with that. It's a nice flow, that is.
Yeah.
Then the second one, we go on to the chop. So these are 2 new sizes in my chop float. So chop exists already in 0.3 to 0.6, and I've decided to do 2 bigger sizes. So 0.8 and 1 gram, same body, same wire, but it has got a thicker hollow tip. So for deeper water, down the edge for tench or on these drains where you're fishing in, sort of 0.6 was a bit light for certain situations. And it has been a popular float chop. So just wanted to make a couple of bigger ones. So they're good. Another addition to an existing float is a magic roach. This is a float that goes up to 2 grams at the moment from 0.4, but I've done it in 3 grams.
Yeah.
So that's 2 grams, but it's the same float.
Yeah. Nice floats. Very popular.
Yeah. And then the last one is this.
Yeah, these are really interesting, aren't they?
Yeah, so this is a flat float that I wanted to do. In line, as in the tip is in line with the stem. You've got a small eye on the side. And this is made from a foam material that is very light.
Right.
So this float fishes really nicely, either edging it through or holding still. It goes up to 4 grams, from half a gram to 4 grams. So it's got a fibre tip, wire stem. One thing you can do with this float is you can actually affix it using a small piece of silicone on the bristle and on the stem, and that way you can remove it from your line
for
when you're storage. Because
yeah.
they are a bit more fragile than the Hydra ones, which
just need a bit more protection.
But that float works really well. You know, you can use it on a deep canal or on a river, but it's really easy to shot up. You can shot it right down. And I think the lightness of the body helps it sit nicely.
Yeah.
So like I say, that goes from half a gram up to 4 grams in various sizes.
So when you're using like half gram, something like that, why use a flat float when you've got such lighter weight?
Well, you can cut through the flow.
I see.
Because obviously a round float creates a certain amount of resistance. When you're holding that back.
Yeah.
You know, the flow is hitting the whole body.
Yeah.
With this, obviously, the float is much slimmer, so it's less resistance.
Yeah.
So you can fish it differently. You know, obviously a round float is good in a lot of situations, but a flat float gives you an alternative.
Yeah.
You can do things with a flat float that you can't do with a round float.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
So yeah, it's,
that
a good,
makes
it's a
sense.
good float to have in your armoury.
I've
It's quite
got
a
one
long
of them.
float, that one. But that's yeah, I've tested them. They work real nice.
Yeah, they are beautifully made again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carried on the colours through the scheme for
Yeah.
the identification.
Best way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody knows straight away as soon as they see them that they're yours, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pleased with them.
They've got a nice long bristle.
They got
as
a
well,
nice long
haven't they?
bristle, and it's not too thin. It is fibre,
Yeah.
so that is quite sensitive, but it's not thin.
Mhm.
Yeah, but they work real nice.
Yeah, some of them are really thin. I think about you at distance now, you wouldn't hardly see them, but you'll see them.
Yeah, no,
You'll
you'll
see them all
that
day
easily.
long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's actually in all my floats now. I've supplied some trade packs of just yellow tips,
Yeah.
so all the floats are readily available. Well, most of them are readily available in
You'd be surprised how many yellow tips we
yeah,
sell. Just tremendous amount of yellows. Yeah. So how would you shot that?
So that I would shot a nice simple rig is to have your loop, a number 9 on your loop, a number 9 10 centimetres above that, and another 9 10 centimetres above that. So you've got 3 9s with over 20 centimetres,
Yeah.
and then have a 20 centimetre gap, and then your bulk, like a non-toxic olivet.
Yeah.
And I quite like to have some shot below my olivet, so 4 shot below it. I think that's fish is a bit nicer and a bit more sensitive than just an olivet with like 1 drop of shot below it.
Yeah.
Or 1. And then I have some trimming shot,
Yeah.
say 3, you could put like 3 12s above your bulk just to help you adjust it
Yeah.
while you're fishing.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty simple. And the good thing with that rig is, the more you go over depth, you can put a shot on the bottom or 2 shot on the bottom just by pushing your float up,
Yeah.
and then just put your tip a little bit more in the water. And the hook length wise, you want at least, I would say 25 centimetres.
Oh, really?
Quite
As long
long.
as that?
Yeah, generally. If you're fishing in a deep
Yeah.
venue,
Yeah.
I would say 20.
Why? Why would you use that?
Because you're laying line on the bottom,
Yeah.
and you don't want like your dropper shot close to your hook particularly. And if you're running through at half pace with that dropper shot off the bottom, you it's just more natural presentation with a longer hook length, you know, like on a stick float sort of thing. You wouldn't have a little short hook length like that, would you?
No, absolutely.
So
no.
so if I was fishing the drains, shallow water, catching little fish, 15 centimetres because it's all shallow water, but a bit in proportion with the depth really.
Yeah.
So 25, 20, 25 I would say.
Yeah, that's interesting. That is. Yeah, I didn't think you was going to say that. You know.
Yeah, it's important.
Not done a lot of flat float fishing, so I'm sort of, rookie on anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see now how you explained it, how you get that fall through the water.
It depends. If you're running it through sort of just an inch on and you're catching roach, you could fish 20. But if you're laying on and trying to catch bigger fish, then a longer hook length.
Because when they first sort of came about, flat floats, everybody thought that they was for when it's in flood, for holding it back hard and big fish and all that sort of thing. But it's definitely moved on since then.
Yeah.
But so on the continent, is it always been like this, or has it developed it has here?
Yeah, it's developed in Italy. It's developed because when I lived there, there were no bream or skimmers, believe it or not. But now there's loads, and they use bloodworm a lot and fish for these skimmers a lot in the matches. So the whole thing has developed with the arrival of the skimmers in Italy. Really, in a hot country, it's weird. Fish move in somehow and take over for some years. So it has all come sort of it's in a state of flux, if you like, or it has been the last few years. It's all been refined and pushed forward, and new floats, because there never used to be this many flat floats on the market. But it's a real important tactic, and it is in the UK.
Good arm for your armoury. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not just for big baits and big fish. It's for fishing bloodworm and for roach and all sorts. Like we said in the previous video we did about flat floats, it's another type of presentation that you can achieve. Yeah,
and they're a nice addition to that range, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. Great stuff. Thanks, Simon. Brilliant.
You're welcome.